Right, good morning everyone. Welcome to the STDC board meeting. Members of the public are welcome to film this meeting, but can I make it clear that we will not tolerate any disruptive behaviour, such as calling out, and if there is any disruptive behaviour, then I will adjourn the meeting and ask the individual or persons to leave. Thanks for your cooperation on that. As usual, there are no planned fire alarms, I believe, today. If it does ring, then please leave the building as swiftly as possible. STDC, TVCA staff will direct you to the muster point. And just to acknowledge that we have received questions from members of the public, and in line with public participation protocol, written responses to all questions will be provided within 10 clear days of the meeting and published on the TVCA website. Excellent, thank you. Let's move into apologies for absence. Ray.
We have apologies from Jessie Faulkner and Councillor Alex Graham.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest? I will just declare that on behalf of this board, I sit on the Teesside Freeport board.
Member of the STDC company board.
Any others? Thank you very much. Let's move on to minutes of the previous meeting. Has anybody got any comments, observations, amendments, corrections to the last meeting, which was held on the 30th of March?
Chair, I looked as though there was a couple of typos on page 3.
Yep.
There's the paragraph that there's the set of indented paragraphs, but then there's a paragraph that begins the sex STDC. The second sentence of there is the word they confirmed. It just seems as though that wasn't quite right. That should be he as an individual as opposed to organisation.
Okay.
And on page 5, the fourth bullet point is references to the name Alec, because you know it's just meant to be the leader of our CDC.
Okay.
Keep consistent terminology.
Yep, got that one. Yep. Any other? Sorry.
No, thanks, Chair. On page 6, there's reference to a request for a list of transport projects, but I see that we have something on the agenda about, so it will be covered then, I assume. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because we didn't have a list, did we, from them?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, that's fine.
Sorry, I've covered that in the report, but
Yeah.
we circulated back in, say, the 10th of September 2025. It's that same list.
Right, okay.
Well, I can cover that.
Yeah.
in the
Okay,
report.
thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Can I take it that members are happy?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought they're excellent.
Done with that. Thank you. Moving on, I don't have anything particular that I want to raise because John's covered everything in his very detailed report that he's going to run through in a second. So I will hand straight on to John for the Chief Exec's update.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So yeah, this is an update report, so I'll keep the introduction fairly brief and just pull out the main points. So the overall position is that Teesworks Estate continues to move forward. We're seeing more of the site move from preparation and enabling works into active use. With tenants on site, construction underway, and major infrastructure now supporting live activity. We also continue to work closely with TVCA colleagues on the financial framework, particularly around loan and financing arrangements. That's important in making sure that long-term position remains clear, sustainable, and aligned with the medium-term financial plan. On South Bank, momentum continues. We've got Sear, Orsted and Setterfield all in occupation. The key is supporting live offshore wind activity, and there's also continued occupying interest across the remaining part of that site. On Bournemouth Point, the main point to draw out is the ongoing work with National Grid and Steel River Power, which is important for the future energy infrastructure and support across the site. And as you can see, as you drove in today, the energy recovery facility just outside our offices here has also reached financial close and construction is now heavily underway. At Lackenby at Longacres, we're continuing to see progress with tenants and prospective occupiers. Ashcourt is in operational use, EOS is progressing still through legals, and there remains interest in the remaining plots. Net Zero Teesside continues to be one of the major areas of activity on the site, with construction progressing and supporting infrastructure, we are supporting infrastructure delivery and helping BP's overall programme. On Foundry, work continues on data centre proposals on that part of the site, details of which still remain commercially sensitive at this stage, but it is still an active opportunity, and we'll bring back a further update to the board as soon as we're able to do so. The report also covers status of Park and Ride, Steel House, estate management, utilities, and the wider programme. On estate management, Tenco's mobilisation and ongoing work is an important step as the site moves into the mature operational phase. So in short, Chair, there's a lot happening across the site. The programme is complex and there are always financial and operational risks to manage, but the overall picture is one that continues that momentum of delivery, and those risks are managed through our ongoing governance and controls already in place. So, Chair, the recommendation is just to simply note the report.
Okay, anybody got questions on specifics? So John?
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 Just a point of clarification, on point 21 with regard to the electric arc plants, plant development, am I right in thinking that, and I'm not suggesting there's going to be any movement very quickly, but if that green light did ever come, it would be really to be able to go straight into it without much preparation?
Yeah, without too much, obviously there'll be a bit of prep to do, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that comes through.
Alan?
Thanks, John. A general question about infrastructure and about our water resilience. There's been an awful lot across on the news lately, with much of the country being dry. And particularly thinking about the potential data centres, which I believe use an awful lot of water. Do you think that we are sufficiently building our water resilience for the future?
Yeah, so we benefit from the historic water consumption that the site has. If you think about data centres, look, there are a number of options that data centres now use for their cooling systems, the majority of which maybe go down like a closed loop system. So they no longer use the huge amounts of continuous water. They have a closed loop system, a bit like your own in-house heating system that effectively just gets topped up. But to answer your question, we've got significant supply of water. We've never turned down the supply demands that we're here currently. So when you think about when it was operational steelworks with 2 power stations, we've always benefited from that large water connection. And in terms of, taking that stage further, in terms of the ongoing development, if you remember, again, 2 or 3 meetings ago, we put forward that water strategy of ongoing investment by the private sector. So what I mean by that is, as a tenant comes on board, if they need a particular upgrade or a particular connection to our on-site system, they pay for that in advance.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just on 8 and 28, John, which is the steel house, just nature after Sir Hall and liabilities, just who is responsible for the ongoing maintenance? Is it STDC or is it T's Works?
No, so it's STDC. STDL is the entity really that's got that ongoing maintenance, but to give you that reassurance, we stripped it all back to Shell, to the point now where there is no maintenance other than a watching brief. So there's no assets there to particularly maintain all the soft fabrics. Anything that's combustible has been taken out. It's just there, solid shell.
Okay, any other comments? We're happy to note John's report.
Yeah.
Okay, governance and appointments. Victoria.
Yeah, that was mine. Thank you, Chair. Hopefully the paper itself is quite self-explanatory, so I will take it as read. However, the 2 points that I wanted to really bring to the attention of the board was the appointment of Councillor Peter Gordon to STDC Audit and Governance Committee. Peter, Councillor Brogan has sat on STDC ANG since November 24th and has been appointed. And second point was in relation to the review of the Mayoral Development Corporations. Lord Houchin is undertaking a review of both Middlesbrough Development Corporation and Hartlepool Development Corporation, and I believe the intention is that he will review the board membership once all the consent reviews are complete. At the moment, I think they're still underway, so we're just continuing as we are now.
Okay.
Anyone got any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, so can we note that we didn't actually note Carol Morgan's decision not to continue.
Apologies, Chair. Yes, thank you all for confirming you're happy to continue to sit on the board whilst the review is taken. Carol has advised that she doesn't want to continue with that position, and that's obviously to the attention of the board.
Okay,
Thank you.
happy to note that. Thank you. Moving on to Q4 draft capital and revenue outturn report, which I believe Alan is going to through this report.
Chair, actually, I'll ask Sarah, who's in the room at the moment, to take you through that.
No problem. The revenue position is a draft deficit of 1.499 million, which is an adverse movement of 1.994 million against budget. And this will be funded from reserves. The main pressure is borrowing costs with interest payable of 11.5 million against budget of 4.4 million. This has been partly offset by stronger income, particularly business rates income of 9.9 million, which is 5 million above budget, together with additional work agreement income and scrap sales. On capital, the draft outturn is 32.1 million against the approved programme of 42.1. Giving an overspend of 9.9 million, this mainly reflects reprofiling of site preparation and infrastructure expenditure in future years rather than schemes being removed. The subsidiary position is better than budget overall. STDL has delivered a 2.1 million surplus, meaning the planned 6.4 contribution is not being required. STDC requires contribution of 0.4 from 0.5 or 3 million, giving a reduced overall subsidiary contribution requirement compared with the 6.8 million issued with budget. In summary, while borrowing costs remain a significant pressure, the corporation has maintained a stable financial position with stronger income generation and expenditure control. Key assurance for board is that the reported deficit can be met with the available revenue reserve and the position continues to be actively managed. The board is asked to note the draft revenue and capital outturn, subsidiary performance and reduce subsidiary contribution requirements.
Okay, any questions for
Okay. Thanks, Sarah. The underspend in the capital programme is fairly significant, isn't it? It's about 1/4 underspend. And I think that's mainly due to delays in site preparation. Is that something that we should be concerned about?
Yeah, so in essence it's really just deferment on work that I'm deeming is non-critical for this moment in time, that doesn't affect any occupiers, doesn't affect any existing tenants, doesn't affect any proposed tenants, but they are work that we will need to do at some point, so it's more a deferment of that, isn't it?
Yeah. Potentially though, it will have revenue implications for us.
No, otherwise I would have done the work, so I'm making sure that we're absolutely nailed on in terms of everything we need to do to secure the income, but if it's non-critical to that income and we can afford to delay it, we'll delay it until such time that it becomes critical. So that's why we've had the capacity to be able to defer that and not commit to it in this moment in time. So
are we expected to spend that money in this coming year then, or is it going to be
I think we could reprofile it out over
over a number of years? Okay. Thank you.
Alan?
On the business rate additional income, which is obviously good news, I say that there's still the comment about the valuation office haven't given us the confirmation. Are we comfortable that the 9 million that we're now getting is prudent, and when the valuation office come along that won't be a detrimental effect to what we took consideration of.
Can you take that one? So again, I think we have been as prudent working in conjunction with our external advisors, like kind of leaving as a film authority to align those assumptions. So, you know, we've not, I don't think, made any overestimates in that respect. There is that simple element of, you know, until the valuation actually lands from the valuation office, you know, we're not in control. We don't know 100%. But what I would say is, on the basis of the original estimate that we had from the VOA, which was on the contracting model, if we then take the out-term construction costs and with some prudent view on turning those down slightly and not, you know, taking every single pence as a rateable value, we think we've been as prudent as we could possibly be.
And as well, but the hard cash on that, is this still just at the moment where it is, it's the anticipation of what we will receive, but we actually haven't had, take SIA as an example. SIA actually haven't had SIA paid any money yet.
No, so I mean, without getting into a detailed business rates conversation, we receive that money through Redcar and Cleveland as a building authority.
Cleveland, Redcar and Cleveland, and they sort of
Yes.
build SIA and there's the money here.
We've got how much of that have we got in?
For these ones, because they're in the Freeport tax zone, we get government grant in lieu rather than business rates from the business, and government will pay us that on the estimate that we've submitted. Will be a reconciliation at year end. So we are still reliant on the valuation office and what they deem to be the rateable value. But in the interim, we're getting estimate payments from government.
Okay. Happy to note that. Yes, thank
Yes.
you. Just before we go on to agenda item 8, can I just point out that as I noticed that the recommendations were missing from this report, so the recommendations are to note the Treasury Management Outturn Report and note compliance with Treasury Management and Prudential Indicators. So apologies, that part was missed off. Again, are you leading on this one, Sarah?
This is me, Chair.
This is you, thank you.
Yes.
Alan.
Yeah, apologies for missing off the recommendations. I'll just summarise the key points. You're right, Chair, as you said, the board have complied with all the key prudential indicators that they set when they set the treasury management strategy. So borrowing was within the limits that were set by the board, and there were no investment, so there were no breaches of the investment limits that were set. The cash that the board has in the bank, I'll mention now, sits in an overnight interest-bearing account, but you wouldn't really classify that as an investment. So total borrowing for the year was 429.9 million. 420 million of that is long-term loans. And I will just sort of go a bit off script and loop back to what John alluded to in his opening remarks about TBCA Cabinet is taking a report tomorrow, that's in the public domain, around putting a complete framework around the repayment of the loans. So if board members haven't seen that, it's worth getting the public pack there, and we can discuss that in detail at a future board meeting. But I think it provides some assurance to DDCA and the board that during the life of the business rates retention agreement, the loans can be paid off for both parties. So the borrowing, there was Sarah mentioned the capital expenditure for the year, 27.7 million was borrowed to fund that capital expenditure, and that is all well within the 350 million loan facility that's been previously agreed by TBCA Cabinet. I think, Chair, that's probably all I would say. I just wanted to pick out some of the key highlights, but happy to take questions.
Okay. Has anybody got questions for Alan? No? You have to know before. Thank you very much. Agenda item 9, Teesworks Limited accounts. Again, I think, Alan, this is you.
I was going to take that.
Are you going to take this one?
But Alan, is that okay, Alan?
Yes, perfectly happy to.
Okay. Thanks, Chair. So this report simply brings the latest Teesworks Limited accounts to the board for noting. They're publicly available accounts, and they're included here because STDC holds 10% shareholding in that company. The accounts show steady performance over the year, and importantly, the audit opinion is clean with no ongoing concerns identified. There are no direct financial, legal or risk implications to the report, so the board recommendation is simply that the board notes the accounts of 2020.
Questions for John?
As is my knowledge to share whether is whether other accounts in line with what the expectations were.
Yeah,
Absolutely fine. I'm happy.
yeah, nothing to raise, otherwise I would raise it. But
Thanks, John. Just the mention of the dividend in the accounts there. I assume we get our share of that, do you?
not at this stage, because the way our dividend distribution works. So you can see there's no dividend accounted for within our accounts or our NTFP currently.
Yeah, okay. Right.
Okay. Happy to note that report. Thank you. Let's move on to agenda item 10. So this is all noting reports today. Information governance, and again back to Victoria.
Again,
Chair, would you like me to take it, Victoria, or are you?
no, if you want to, that's up to you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Only because I've been working closely with the information governance team. So you'll see that this report details quarters 3 and 4. So that's quarter 3 is January to March, quarter 4 is April to June. And you'll see that we've received, during that period of time, from January to March, we received 7 freedom of information requests. And most of them, 6 of them, were responded to within the 20-day statutory timescale, which is a vast improvement on 2025. And we received 3 internal review requests, 10 environmental information requests, and there were no escalated complaints to the Information Commissioner, and therefore none were upheld because the Information Commissioner didn't receive any. In terms of April to June, 3 freedom of information requests were received, and all 3 were responded to within the statutory timescale. And we received 10 environmental regulation requests or complaints, no code of conduct complaints, and no written complaints. So I present the report to you, and I'm open to questions. Thank you.
Questions for Jeanette? No? Okay. Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you.
Move on to the Teeswork Integrated Transport Improvement Programme. John, I believe you. Sorry? Well, first, sorry, I apologise. I have missed off delegated and urgent decisions to receive a report outlining delegated and urgent decisions, and I believe this
It is me this time. Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Obviously this paper is put to board to note, but just to give the board some context behind it. In an ideal scenario, the draft annual governance statement would have been presented to South East Development Corporation Audit and Governance Committee. It was, however, unfortunately the ANG committee on that day was not quorate, so they were unable to make decisions. The draft AGS was circulated to Audit and Governance Committee by email. Members were given an opportunity to comment on it. The important part was that the annual governance statement had to be published alongside the accounts at the end of June, so we really did need to hit that deadline. It was on that basis that we took the urgent decision to make sure that the AGS that is in draft, so it's not the final version, it is just draft, was published alongside the accounts. The Audit and Governance Committee will have a further opportunity to provide comment at their meeting on the 12th of August, I think it is, yeah. Once they've provided comment, we will update it and it will then be left in its draft status until EY have carried out their audit. Once all that work's complete, the updated AGS will be brought to Audit and Governance Committee and yourselves. So you have to bear with us a bit longer while Audit and Governance Committee have their comments and EY do their work, but we will bring it to you as soon as we can. Okay.
Thanks. Members happy to note.
So just one question from there. Obviously you said it went to the by email to the committee.
Yes.
The members. Was there any? Didn't state that if anyone came back with comments. Was there any comments?
Yeah, there were some comments that we were able to incorporate some of them into the draft that went out with the accounts on the, I think it was just before the 30th of June. But it is in draft form.
So the published one included.
It does, yeah. It is in draft form. But we did want to give them the opportunity in an open forum to give us comments as well. So it is going back to them on the 12th of August. As I said, it is currently in draft form, so we will be able to take comments from them and from the auditors in due course. And then we'll bring back the final form for your approval and your review.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Happy to know. Thank you very much. Now let's talk about Teesworks Integrated Transport Improvement Programme. John, are you leading on this one?
Yeah, I'll take that, Chair, and I'll briefly introduce it. So this report is really about keeping the board properly sighted on the wider Teesworks Transport Programme, as well as the potential role that STDC may have in supporting delivery where those schemes are closely linked to the operational needs of the Teesworks estate. The report's been brought forward in the interests of transparency, particularly given the recent public commentary and press reporting, which incorrectly suggested that 100 million of funding had been transferred and all that had already taken place. That isn't the position. The programme itself is not new to members. Again, as I touched on earlier, if you recall, back in September, the 10th of September, I circulated a note to board members at the request of the chair with an accompanying PDF which detailed all of the entrance schemes, and that note covered the work that we were doing for both entrances. That's how long this has been, certainly from our side of things, discussed. So this isn't a new programme being introduced to the board today. What the report does do, though, is bring the context from those earlier informal notes that I've circulated into a more formal board reporting route to clarify the current funding, governance and delivery position. The key point is that this is a programme level transport funding that remains with TDCA. It's not been transferred to STDC, but where appropriate, STDC may be asked to act as a delivery body, subject to relevant TDCA approvals, business case assurance, grant funding agreements, legal advice, procurement requirements, and obviously STDC's own governance control. Schemes referenced are important because they support workforce access, construction logistics, freight movement, future occupiers, wider investor confidence across the Teesworks site and the surrounding infrastructure network. So scheme-specific arrangements may progress some of the scheme-specific arrangements may progress before the next board meeting. So I wanted to give the board some visibility on the position in advance. Any grant funding accepted by STDC would go through Section 73 Officer Delegation and then reported back to the board through the delegated decision process. So, in summary, this is a report that is for note. We think it provides, hopefully, the transparency, corrects any misunderstanding that funding had already been transferred, confirms that TDCA remain responsible for the programme funding, and makes it clear that STDC will only take on delivery roles with the proper governance and financial and legal framework. So we can take any questions, but if there are any governance or process questions, we've got colleagues in the room that can give the board any reassurance around that. So thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Has anybody got comments? As John said, we circulated something quite a long time ago now, so this is just correcting some misapprehensions about that stuff, but it's an ongoing piece of work, and we'll no doubt have another iteration of it at some point in one of the future board meetings. Okay, people happy to note? much. That closes the formal part of the meeting. So I'm looking to seek agreement for the committee to exclude members of the press and public at this time. Somebody happy to move that? You happy to second? Okay. Thank you all for your time this morning.